Today's guest is someone who embodies pure decisiveness, relentless action, and elite level scaling.
Life rewards those who go all in. Life rewards those who take action. This is the best time ever to be alive. We have AI, we have social media, we have YouTube, we have podcasts like this to where you can literally go online and learn anything. Say at 33, I thought I peaked. At 40, it's just the beginning.
What's one lesson you'd teach your 18-year-old self? Welcome to Built to Scale, the show where we sit down with entrepreneurs who didn't just dream big, they executed bigger. Today's guest is someone who embodies pure decisiveness, relentless action, and elite level scaling. Rich Summers is an active real estate investor and entrepreneur with a portfolio of apartments and boutique hotels valued over $80 million. He's the founder of Summers Capital, one of the fastest growing boutique hotel investment companies in the game. But what makes Rich different isn't just his results, it's the journey. He spent 11 years as an air traffic controller, making real-time decisions in one of the highest pressure environments in the world. And then, less than a year of self-education, he made a move most people would never have the courage to do. He cashed out his 401k and bought his first properties. Today, he hosts a top 1% business and real estate podcast, The Rich Summers Report, and runs Beers and Deals, the largest real estate networking event in San Diego. Rich's message is simple but powerful. Act quickly, embrace mistakes, invest in yourself, build your community, and stay hungry. So grab a notebook because Rich is about to drop a masterclass on taking decisive action and scaling your life, income, and business. Let's get into it.
Quinn, that's a hell of an intro, bro. Hell of an intro right there. Appreciate you having me on, dude, and excited to drop a lot of game in this conversation today.
Me too, bro. And we're sitting here in your studio here in San Diego, California.
This is a road game for you.
I'm excited, bro. What was the exact moment, if you can place it, that you realized when you went from being an air traffic controller where you're like, I'm not going to do this forever, and real estate was your way out?
What was the exact moment that I decided
that you realized, like, hey, I'm gonna stop doing this, I'm gonna start doing that?
You know, I was working full time as an air traffic controller. I remember I was in between working sessions at SoCal Approach here in San Diego, which is the busiest air traffic facility in the world. Fun fact, about like I think 5,200 airplanes would work a day out of that building. But anyways, in between working sessions, and I was in a break room, and I overheard a coworker talking about how he just closed on a fourplex in Cleveland, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. He bought it for like $200,000, and I was like, his name was Mike. I was like, Mike, how did you do that? And I was like, teach me how you did that. He said, go read this blue book by Brandon Turner on real estate investing, and he said, go listen to this podcast, and it was the Bigger Pockets podcast. And I remember from that day, I read the book, I started listening to podcasts, and I just started binge listening to episodes. And I remember like listening to every episode, and everyone told their story of how they got into real estate investing. And most of these folks were like, you know, nobody special. They were just everyday people that just decided to go do their first deal, and they figured out how to get in their first deal. Thank you, Lauren. And so it was very inspiring to hear all these stories. And I was like, dude, I just became obsessed from that moment, man. And so for a 9-month period, all I did was eat, breathe, sleep, real estate investing. I stopped going out. I was working 6 days a week at the air traffic facility. I was working nights, weekends, holidays, a lot of overtime, 56 hours a week. And outside of it, on my breaks, on the way to work, after work, on my weekends, all I did was study real estate investing. I started a real estate meetup. And I started going to other real estate meetups before I ever owned any real estate. And I just became obsessed, and I just knew it was a matter of when. And that's when I first knew that I was going to get in the game, man.
How old were you?
I was 33 years old, bro. I just turned 40 in August. And I always say at 33, I thought I peaked. At 40, it's just the beginning. I feel younger today at 40. I look younger. I feel like I have more purpose. I have more energy. My body's never felt healthier. At 40, when at 33, I felt literally like I peaked. I felt stuck. I didn't feel like I was growing.
What did you look like back then?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you could probably see some stuff online.
Was it a different look?
Similar look. I mean, I still had a beard and everything, but I just looked like a dude that was defeated. Like I was stuck. Wow. Like I wasn't growing. Most people get into that career, they never leave. And it's a great career. I actually miss a lot of the people that I worked with. Great folks, some of the hardest working folks that I've ever met. But dude, it's a stressful career, man. And a lot of those folks that get out of there, man, they don't look good physically. They're stressed out. They're not working out and not eating good either. It's a high stress environment.
Still coming up.
Did your job as an air traffic controller kind of help you understand how to deal with pressure and risk in the position you're in today? SoCal homeowners, why pay $15,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 for a new roof when instead you can get a new roof for only less than $100 per month? Here at Master Roofing, we serve homeowners with high quality roofs with no hefty upfront costs. So give your house the roof it deserves with zero down and low monthly payments. Why wait? Click the link below to get you a roof you deserve for payments you can afford. You say the faster you act, the quicker you win. What was the biggest win from acting fast?
Dude, money loves speed, bro. Like, the more you sit there and talk about and think about making a decision or think about taking action, the more you're just delaying. And the truth is like, you can read all the books, you can listen to all the podcasts. They're going to give you all the strategy, and they'll give you some motivation, some inspiration, and some feel good that comes out of it. But life rewards those who go all in. Life rewards those who take action. And the truth is like, there's going to be problems. All the problems that people allude to are real. So put some weight on them. But on the other side of the balance scale is another risk, and it's this. I could be 80 years old one day, laying in my bed, staring at the ceiling, kicking myself because I never fucking tried anything in life. How about that risk? That's another risk that a lot of people don't allude to.
That feeling of regret of not doing what you knew you could have done.
Mm-hmm. And dude, most people talk about doing the thing. Few people actually do the thing. Life's short, man. I always say the best way to measure time is by months, not years. The best way to measure time is by months. So I'm 40. Average life expectancy for a male is 77. I have about 430 something months left until I hit that age. And so when it comes time to making decisions of whether I'm going to do the thing or not do the thing, or take an action or not take an action, when I think of it in that light, 430 something months is going to go by like that. It makes it a lot easier for me to take action.
When did you change your perspective on time, like looking at it in terms of months, and where did you hear that?
I started thinking about time probably like when I didn't know anything about real estate or business or even growth mindset. I wasn't consuming that kind of content at 33 or until 33.
This is really the last 7
This is all in the last 7 years, dude. I didn't know anything about real estate or business 7 years ago. And so
that's amazing.
Which is crazy because I also say, dude, like, it's never too late to reinvent yourself, because at 33, that's pretty late to not know anything about business or real estate and make this big pivot in your career. A lot of people would say that's relatively late, but then things can change very quickly if you take massive action. And now at 40, with where I'm at today, a lot of people are like, oh, you're young. You're young based on everything you've done, right?
Yeah.
And so I always say, as a function of that, I always tell younger people or even people that are older than me, I'm like, dude, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. I see 20-year-olds all the time, or people in their young mid-30s, or even 40-year-olds. They're like, dude, I'm past the hill. I'm stuck. It's too late. I'm late to the party. I'm late to the game. I'm like, dude, no. Like, the game is just getting warmed up. It's all your mindset, bro.
They got 400 months left.
Yeah, I mean, ask yourself how many months left, and fuck, if you're 50 right now, I mean, do the math. Let's just say you're 50 right now, and you're a dude listening to this podcast. 77 is average life expectancy, so 27 times 12, you have 324 months left until you hit that age. And that's till 77, you know. I know people that are in their 60s that they're not mobile, they don't have good health, and so calculate the time, the number of months you have till 60, and then work backwards.
I wonder how many months I have left at 27. I'll have to do the math on
Yeah.
that. You've only been doing this 7 years. What is like the most amount of money you've made in a single year so far, and how did you get there?
So 7 figures, definitely done 7 figures, and that was the first time I ever did that was last year, 2024.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And, with the real estate stuff that we have, kind of how my business functions is 4 arms, right? So number 1 is the media. The media drives all of our leads for our business. Podcast, social media, we're on all the channels and platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, LinkedIn. Without the media, we're averaging 24 million views a month right now, just posting organic content. Without the media arm, we don't have a business. And the second arm is Summers Capital. We have investors, but give them passive income and tax benefits. We'll deploy that capital to acquire underperforming boutique hotels, which we'll renovate and operate. The third arm is Summers Collection, which is our hospitality brand. That's on-site staff, guests checking in, checking out, front desk, housekeeping, maintenance, team of VAs, driving 5-star reviews, revenue management. The fourth arm is the online communities. And so last year was the first time I did 7 figures, and that was through the online communities. But it all wraps around, because I'll tell you why. A lot of people get into real estate investing and they think, oh my gosh, passive income, it sounds great. But, for us, with everything we're doing at Summers Capital, our investors always get paid first. All the deals we're acquiring are 10-year hold periods, right? And so this is a long-term thing. Investors always get paid first. You need active income. And that's what I tell all these people getting into real estate. I'm like, guys, you need to find a way to make active income. And until you have an active income problem, you shouldn't be shoving all your money into real estate, trying to get $200 a month, $300 a month in passive income. You need to go acquire a skill or 2 skills that allow you to make a lot more money. And then once you have enough income coming in where you're like, dude, I don't have any time and I have all this money coming in, I need to go put that money to work to get tax benefits and that sort of thing, then you go buy the real estate.
And also, it's like you have overhead. You're building like a business, right? Like all these 4 arms, it's like it's a business. The media is your marketing, right? And that's like that's what drives everyone to you, all the eyeballs, and then you found the ways to monetize it and to give your investors so they can make money. So it's like some people do it where they're just taking the money and then they're not actually building a sustainable business.
Yeah. Dude, here's the thing, bro. We're 30 days out from 2026 at the time of this podcast recording. Today's December 2nd. If you're listening to this right now, you're a business owner, real estate investor, like you need to be asking yourself, how are you going to differentiate yourself from the competition in 2026? How are you going to be different from all the competition? How are you going to be contrarian? Because you can't just sit there and do what everyone else is doing and expect to win the game. And so, for us, a couple things that we're doing to stand out is like we're going to put out more content online than 99.99% of other business owners. That's going to allow us to stand out. On the hotel side, we have influencers staying at every single one of the hotels indefinitely at every hotel because our competition's not doing that. Some of them are.
What do you mean? Give the influencers free access to the hotels for the content? Or
Yeah, so if they're a travel influencer and their audience is primarily people that love traveling, right?
Got it, yep.
So we'll reach out to them, or sometimes they reach out to us, and then we'll offer them 2 nights free to go stay at one of our hotels in exchange for content. We'll also, if they have a bigger audience, we'll allow them to do a giveaway for 2 nights free to their audience. And it's a way for us to get more content. It's a way for us to get a lot more eyeballs on the properties. It's a way for us to increase our direct booking percentage, charge higher ADRs, drive higher occupancy. But when we go to exit these deals in 10 years, if each of our hotels has a big following, 200,000, 400,000, 600,000 followers on the hotel Instagram account, there's a value that those buyers in 10 years will put on that, and they will pay a much higher multiple on buying that asset. And so there's multiple reasons why we do it, but a lot of our competition is not doing it, and that's one of the things that we're doing to stand out. In addition to it, earlier this year we went all in on AI. We have an AI concierge at every single one of the hotels right now, helping guests with check-in instructions, restaurant accommodations, places to go out to eat, what to eat at those restaurants, daytime activities, hiking trails, driving 5-star reviews, and even bringing in additional revenue in the form of pet fees, early check-in fees, late checkout fees, additional room nights, and more expensive room packages. And by the way, the AI concierge, no one knows that's AI. She texts, and they all have different names and personalities based on the market. We'll text the guests in blue iMessage using emojis, staggered response times, and even intentional spelling errors to feel like a real human touch.
what is the AI software you use?
We have, actually it's one of our investors, and they have this company where they do AI employees or AI bots for other business owners. And it's called Fit Solutions, FIT Solutions. You can look them up online. You can implement this almost into any business. You know, maybe you're a business where you make a lot of your money in the DMs on social media and you need setters. You can implement an AI bot to be in your DMs. Or maybe you're a restaurant owner. You can have the AI bot literally reach out to guests before their reservation, warm them up, show them some cool things, drive 5-star reviews on Google, all that sort of stuff. And so I would say, man, this is the best era to ever be alive. If you look at the history of mankind, and regardless of all the bad news in the marketplace today, there's always going to be bad news in the marketplace. There's always going to be reasons not to get started in business or real estate investing. But I'm like, guys, this is the best time ever to be alive. We have AI, we have social media, we have YouTube, we have podcasts like this to where you can literally go online and learn anything relatively quickly for free. And then you can wake up the next morning and literally go file for an LLC and be a business owner. You can go market yourself online on all these different social media channels. By the way, 4.8 billion people use social media, and it's free to post. And so not only is this the best time to be alive, also, if you're a business owner or a real estate investor right now and you are not taking advantage of social media, you are not taking advantage of tech, you are not taking advantage of AI, you're not doing yourself any favors. And it's going to be hard to compete with those of us that are.
So in my business, I'm using a ton of, we post a ton of content on social media.
Yeah.
And we also pay a lot for advertising for the roofing company.
Okay.
I would say 90%, we post daily. I would say 90, 95, 99% of our customers all come from paid advertising. And your business, it sounds like it's coming just from organic social media. How do we make that happen in our business?
Well, for one, getting a lot of testimonials from your clients. So you have hundreds of clients that you've done roofs for, I imagine. And so you can go to all of them, get testimonials, show the before and afters. So like all your projects, I would be taking before and afters of all these projects. Because the aesthetics from a curb appeal perspective, when you take an old roof that looks old, tired, and dirty, put a new one on there, it does look pretty cool. And so I would take all those reviews. I would drive a lot of reviews on Google, Yelp. You mentioned you have some other acquisition channels as well. And then I would just do a lot more content. So when you guys are out in the field, I would have like a videographer or maybe have them show them how to do it. But like shoot a lot of that content out there in the field and just try to get way more organic content, try to get more video testimonials of your clients. And by doing so, I think you drive a lot more leads, and then have a really cool call to action in your bio on Instagram, because people are going to click your stuff and they're going to look at your organic content.
Like
the
what?
paid ads is great, but organic with the paid ads is going to be a lot better. A really good bio. So
What would you say if you had a roofing company, Rich Summers Roofing?
yeah, I would say just off the top, without knowing too much about your industry and what works and doesn't work, I would have like a really cool incentive in your bio, like, inquire here for a $2,500 off or $5,000 off, whatever. And you could incorporate that bonus for whatever. So like we just ended Thanksgiving. We did a Black Friday promo for all of our hotels where it was anywhere from 30 to 40% off from Thanksgiving. No, the week before Thanksgiving. So Thursday till literally today. Okay. Today's Tuesday. So we literally ran it for 12 days. And so you could have ran that same thing. Hey, click here to receive $5,000 off your roof replacement between now and whatever for Black Friday. Or you can do a December holiday promo. Or January, I don't know, what's a holiday in January?
And they click it to like a lead form where they just put their information in?
Yeah, lead form, exactly. And then you qualify them in the lead form, get them on a call, and see if they want to take advantage of it.
I love that.
Yeah,
do you post like once a day, multiple times a day? What is like your recommendation? And it's same content across all platforms or different content across platforms? Like how do you guys do it to get that many views?
So one thing I'll say is this, man. Remember, when I was saying, at 33, I didn't know anything about business or real estate, and people are like, oh, it sounds a little bit older to not know anything about the game. And then at 40, where I'm at now, because I took a lot of action, people are like, damn, you're young. Well, same thing with the content. I wasn't putting out any social media content until 3 years ago in 2022. And I still have the screenshot on my phone today of when I went all in on the content. It was May of 2022. I had 4,000 followers on Instagram, and I wasn't putting out any content. Today, we've recently crossed 600,000 followers and subscribers across all the different platforms and channels. And people are like, damn, you've been in this for a minute. It's like, no, I just started 3 years ago. And so a lot can change if you just start today versus waiting till tomorrow. And you take action every single day. And so, we're on all the different channels, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, TikTok. And generally speaking, from like a high level perspective, how we approach the content is I typically do 2 to 3 podcasts every single Tuesday. And then we put out 3 podcast episodes a week, every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. My content team will chop up the clips from these long form episodes. And the long form will go out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Stitch, all the little different channels you can listen to a podcast. And they will get views and downloads. And I always say the highest ROI audience is going to be the long form, because these folks tend to be higher net worth. They tend to be more intelligent. They tend to be action takers, and they tend to just overall have a better wherewithal. And so, and a higher IQ. And so those are always going to become your best clients. Now, the short form is what is going to give you a lot of visibility and a lot of views online and awareness. And so I got 2 full-time media personnel on staff, and they do nothing but really chop up content for me from these long form episodes. I will bonus them out based on number of views. And so, at the end of every month, any video that gets 1 million views, they get $1,000 bonus. Any video that gets 500,000 views, they get a $500 bonus, 250, 250, 100, and 100. And so now when we get done with a couple episodes on a Tuesday, they're fighting over who gets to edit the best content. They're spending an extra 15, 20 minutes on the best B-roll, the best possible hook. They're split testing all the stuff on TikTok. And I'm a big fan of A/B testing. So we'll A/B test because we don't know what's going to work and not work. We have an idea. We'll split test all the content from the podcast, and we'll A/B test it all on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And based on how those perform 48 hours later on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, that tells us what we're going to enhance and move over to Instagram and put out on all the other channels. And that seems to work very well right now. We're averaging about 24 million views a month just posting organic content, and that's across all the channels.
That's a huge game right there. That's a masterclass what you just gave us. I heard that in your course that I'm a part of.
Yep, the 7-figure creator. We teach that in the 7-figure creator.
Yep. And I don't think people realize like the value in the split testing, because it gives you so much information on what is actually going to work and what isn't before you post it on all the other platforms.
Dude, it's huge, bro, because a couple things here. Like when you put out bad content on Instagram, Facebook, you lose trust and you lose followers. But if you can consistently find a way to put out content that is going to perform, and the best way to do that is to split test. And so if it works on TikTok, it works on YouTube Shorts, then we put it out on Instagram, then you're consistently putting out good quality content. And that's how you get discovered on the Explore page, the suggested follow page, the new follower page. And that's how you really start growing. Right now we're growing on average about 30 to 35,000 new followers and subscribers every 30 days across all the different channels. Someone like Dan Martell, he's probably growing about 300,000 a month right now, just posting organic content. I always say it starts slow, and then it goes fast. And for us right now, it started slow. Like I lost followers the first 2 months I posted back in 2022. Because people like from high school, college, coworkers, they don't want to see the real estate content. They don't want to see the money content, not all of them. And so you're going to lose followers at first, but if you stay consistent and you can stick to the game and put out content every single day for 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, then you're going to start to really see some success. And so, people look at Alex Hormozi, they look at Dan Martell, and they say like, they see these guys really like popping off right now and blowing up, and they're like, damn, like this must be nice. I'm like, no. People don't know that Dan Martell put out content for almost a decade before people started to take notice. Dan came on my podcast in exactly 2 years ago, November of 2023, and he had 170,000 followers on Instagram, and nobody really knew who he was yet. And today, the guy's got almost 10 million followers and subs 2 years later. And so he was putting out content for 10 years and no one watched. And then all of a sudden, people started to take notice. They started to share his stuff, and then boom, he blew up out of nowhere. And now he's on this crazy trajectory. Alex Hormozi, same thing. People are like, damn, like must be nice. I'm like, no. Alex talks about it all the time. The dude had a podcast for many, many years where they averaged 3,000 downloads a month for 3-4 years, and they were stagnant. And 3 years ago, Alex really hit the scene, just like Dan did recently, and he completely blew up. And so you got to get the reps in, you got to get the at-bats in, and this is a game of consistency. Those who can be consistent and do it for long enough to actually start to see some success will win the game. But a lot of people give up. Most people give up.
They don't look at it like a marathon. They look at it like a race.
Correct.
Do you have do you think there's an issue with using like posting softwares versus just having like your team organically post it?
What do you mean when you say that?
If we create like a content calendar and we upload like we use a software to like push it out to all the channels instead of having to upload the video on YouTube, on TikTok, on like if we had a software that can just like drop the video on all the platforms. Is there anything, does that hurt you at all? Like if I'm curious for myself.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest with you. We've never tried it, so I don't know.
Okay, cool. If you had to start over from zero today, what would be your first move in the next 48 hours? If you lost all the followers, if you lost everything, how would you restart?
I would go and get a high ticket sales job somewhere, because certain skills they can never take away from you, right? And so I would take my experience in sales. My first job in sales was selling cell phones out of a kiosk in the mall here in North County. I was selling Singular Wireless, and this is before everyone had a cell phone. And I was terrified to talk to people at the time. I was terrified to talk to strangers, but it forced me to get out of my comfort zone and go do that. And then I got into car sales. Some of my coworkers were selling cars, and they're like, yo, Rich, come work with us at Nissan. You'll make a lot more money. So I did that, and that's kind of how I got my first like couple reps and at-bats in sales. And so I would take those skills and I would go find a high-ticket sales job, and I would find a way to go sell and make a commission off of that and start to build up some cash flow. And then from there, I would get into real estate as quickly as I can.
And real estate, because that's the place where you see the quickest way to make your money work for you?
That, but you can also force a lot of appreciation if you buy below market and you add a lot of value. But more importantly, man, it's a business that I understand, and I just love the game of real estate. A lot of people grow up knowing about Wall Street and the stock market and investing in IRAs and 401ks, and I did that for 11 years. But what are you investing in when you invest in the stock market? Like, what are you really buying? It's not tangible. You're basically buying a ticker symbol, and you have no control if it goes up or down. But real estate, on the other hand, man, it's a tangible asset. You can look it, you can touch it, you can feel it. These are real assets that are going to be around for hundreds and hundreds of years that bring in income and cash flow, and those are the things that I want to get into. And so I think, to circle back to your original question, I would go and get the cash flow by selling a high ticket item, and then from there I would take all the money and start getting into real estate as soon as possible. And one more thing, I would go get around the right rooms, and so I would go get in front of people that have money. So figure out where people that are high net worth hang out, and go get around those types of people.
Did your job as an air traffic controller kind of help you understand how to deal with pressure and risk in the position you're in today?
100%. 100%. So like in the air traffic game, you have tower controllers that work at the airports, and then you have radar controllers. The tower controllers will operate, they'll basically control the taxiways, they'll control the planes to take off and land. The radar controllers are basically, you're sitting in front of a scope and you're working all these airplanes that come and go. So there's like slow periods, and then it gets really busy. And when there's a rush, there could be 20, 25, 30 planes on frequency. Some of them are descending, some of them are climbing, some of them you got to turn, some of them you got to move for traffic. And so you got to be able to think quick, and you got to also be able to control the frequency. You can't let the pilots take over the frequency. And so you got to be quick thinking, you got to be able to act, and you got to be able to perform under high pressure situations. I
had a feeling that would play a role into doing this now, because now controlling so many departments, multiple arms of businesses. So you're able to kind of be the air traffic controller here and make sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, and I still have all the lingo, bro. Even after, 6 years now, I still got all the lingo.
What's the lingo?
Oof. Southwest 145, turn left heading 280, descend and maintain 6,000. You'll be following a American 737, 12 o'clock and 2 miles, report that traffic in sight.
Wow. I don't even know what that means. That's cool.
But it's like riding a bike, man. You do it so many times, over and over and over and over and over. It's like ingrained in your head.
And that's how what you would communicate like to the pilots? Okay, when did you realize that you couldn't do this alone and you wanted to start building a team? Because you started this, you moved out of air traffic. Was it like a quick transition and then you started building teams, or was it kind of slow in the beginning and they ramped up?
So out of air traffic, I was buying multifamily. I was also buying Airbnbs personally, which I still own today. And I started Pack 3 Capital with two of my partners that I got into the multifamily game with. And we hired a couple mentors, John and Tony Azar, out of the Southeast. They're a multifamily group out of the Southeast. At the time, they were operating about 8,000 apartment units. They've sold some of them recently. And today, they probably manage about 5,000 apartment units out of the Southeast or out of Charlotte. They mentored us on how to get into the game, how to underwrite bigger deals, how to raise private capital. And we actually co-GP'd a couple larger deals with them. The Arbors Townhomes in Greensboro, North Carolina, 150 unit townhome style community, and then Timber Creek Apartments, 145 unit garden style community. Now, in 2022, and I had Pack 3 Capital with my two old partners, Sean and Mike. We all cashed out our 401ks. We all got in the real estate game together. We were all working air traffic together. I realized that I would not reach my full potential under that partnership. And it was a very tough decision, but I decided to leave that partnership so I could go build my own thing. And that's when I started Summers Capital. And that was the first time where I actually really started to build out a team. And so I knew as soon as I made that pivot, exactly the hires that I needed to make. And so I went out and made those hires. And since then, we've been off to the races. But I think my biggest takeaway, bro, is because I think a lot of people go through bad partnerships, or they're in relationships. They have spouses that are like, man, like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, but it feels comfortable, and they don't want to have those tough conversations. And so they just delay and delay and delay. And the next thing you know, it's been so long, they're like, fuck it. Like, I might as well just do it the rest of my life. I challenge those folks to go and have those tough conversations, because I had that tough conversation then, and they're in a better position without me. I'm in a better position without them, and I've been able to really, really scale a lot quicker and grow a lot quicker because of that split, if that makes sense.
It does. How has your leadership style like evolved from how it is now versus the first deal?
Oh, dude, it's night and day, man. It's night and day. I didn't even know what good leadership was back then. I didn't even know what a good team member was supposed to look like back then. And you thought you knew, but you don't really know until you get in there. And it's not something that happens overnight. Communication, leadership skills, but it's something that happens with the reps and the at bats and going through it over and over and over, and just trying to get 1% better every single day, man.
What systems or structure did you implement that finally made your business scalable?
EOS, implementing EOS and hiring a business coach. So I started working with my business coach, Rick English, in October of 2022. And that's right when we started Summers Capital. So as soon as I started Summers Capital, I knew I was going to implement EOS from the book Traction with Gino Wickman. And that's an operating system on how to run your business. And so literally implementing weekly KPIs, monthly KPIs, having the right people in the right seats, and really having the right systems and processes. But we essentially run the entire business out of an L10 meeting. That's weekly. We do it 8 a.m. every single Monday. And that through that one meeting, we're able to run a lot of the business, which is pretty cool. But I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without EOS and without working with my business coach.
How many people sit in your L10 meeting?
How many people sit into it?
Yeah. How many people you have sit in the L10 meeting?
It's our leadership team, so there's 9 of us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll run 2 separate L10s throughout the week. So then my hospitality director and our operations director on the Summers Collection side, which is the hotel side, they sit in our team L10 here in the office, and then they run a separate L10 with all the on-site staff. So like the front desk and like some of the on-site staff at all the hotels and the VAs.
Is there one deal that you've done in Summers Capital that you regret not doing? Like a deal that was like almost there that you were thinking about buying that you didn't end up going with, and you regret not pulling the trigger on it?
That's a good question, dude. There was many deals that I've gotten under contract and then canceled for reasons that came up in due diligence, and I've never regretted not buying those deals. I can't say there's any deals that I've passed on that I regret buying. There's always more deals out there, and I think the takeaway is like if you're a real estate investor and you're looking at deals, like it's a numbers game. It's better to be conservative and pass on a deal that you didn't feel all in on than it is to get into a bad deal.
That's good.
Yeah.
No regrets on it. It's just
there's always more deals out there, and when it's the right deal, you'll know.
It's an abundance mindset, like thinking about that you're not focused on the ones that didn't work out. You're always looking for the new opportunities.
Here's the other thing is like you can only do one deal at a time, right? And so like you get into deals that are like you can go do deals that are like 90% of what you're looking for, but if it's not a hell yes, it should be a no, because you can only do one deal at a time. And so if you're raising capital, if you're securing lending, like if it's the right deal and you're all in on it, everything comes easier. I always say that find the deal and the money will come.
But how does it work? Is that how it works? You find the deal first and then you'll raise the capital for it, or you're constantly raising capital and you'll deploy it when you find the deal? Like how does that
We're
structure
constantly
work?
building relationships. We have like an investor wait list, and so we're always building relationships, but we don't go and deploy capital. We don't call money due. We don't go raise the capital until we have a deal, an opportunity locked up.
So if somebody came in right now and they said, "Hey, Rich, here's $10 million," how would you invest it, or what would you do with it in the next 48 hours?
I would put it into where we have a competitive advantage, and that's buying underperforming boutique hotels along the West Coast from mom and pop owners that have these underperforming assets. They're not using any tech, they're not using any AI, and we can go in and reposition these properties, renovate them, implement the tech, implement the AI, the good systems and processes, the good revenue management, influencer stays and all that. And I would continue doing more of what we're already doing. That's where I would deploy it.
And you built one of the biggest networking groups here in San Diego for real estate investing. What was that first meetup like?
What was the first meetup like? Dude, so this is what it looked like. So Beers and Deals was technically founded by a couple by the name of Ian and Elena McCormick, and I started going to their meetup as an air traffic controller, and they came to me in 2019 when I wanted to start my own meetup, and they said, "Hey, Rich, we are not going to host this meetup anymore. We're going to shut it down. Do you want to take it over and be the new host of the meetup?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." I was about to start my own meetup, and so they handed me the reins to it. And at the time, it maybe be like 40 people would show up. And so, like anything, it's about the reps, it's about the at-bats, it's about staying consistent. So took it over and did it monthly. I was the one doing the check-in. I was the one doing the name tags. I was the one collecting everyone's emails. I was the one promoting the meetups. I was the one taking everyone's emails and putting them into the email list at that time. And I was the one promoting it on social media and all that sort of stuff. And so, it grows and grows and grows. But that's what it was like in the beginning. And today we still have it. It's now San Diego's largest ongoing real estate investing meetup. We had Grant Cardone pull up to our meetup earlier this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was probably pretty crazy, huh?
It was dope, dude. Yeah, it was dope.
What's like the biggest advantage of hosting an event that people underestimate?
The biggest advantage would be seeing everyone get together. Like these meetups is like really about building a community. Mm-hmm. Like we don't sell anything in these meetups. I don't do like big speaking engagements or like we don't pitch anything at these meetups. It's really just a room full of networking. And so these meetups are free. And so I think the real value that I see is seeing other people do deals together and partner together and do business together from our meetup. And a lot of them become friends with each other because of our meetup.
I want to talk about your podcast for a second because you have a top 1% podcast out there for business. How do you get elite guests to come on? I'm 30 episodes in on my podcast. I've only been doing it 4 months. You've been doing this for years, and you have over 400 episodes. So how do you get on the Dan Martells, the Grant Cardones, these guys? Like, what's your process for getting these elite guests on the podcast?
So the first thing you got to realize is it's a numbers game. And so the first thing that anyone should do when they start a podcast is they should do whatever it takes to get 200 reviews on Apple. And that means you got to send your podcast link to everyone that you know personally, everyone on your team, friends, family, people that you went to college with or high school with, and literally text them individually the link of your podcast and say, hey, bro, I hope all is well. I just launched my podcast. It would mean the world to me if you take 2 seconds and just drop a 5-star rating on Apple. And you're gonna get some people that don't respond, but it's a numbers game. Get to 200. After that, what you want to do is, create a list of like 200 guests that you'd love to have on, and figure out a way to reach out to all of them. Everyone has a website. Everyone has an Instagram, so DM them, find an email on their website, find their company phone number, and just do whatever it takes to get in front of them. And it's a numbers game. So at first, maybe out of the 200, maybe only 10% respond, and that's 20 people. And of the 20 people that respond, half of them come on. That's 10 guests now that you have come on. And the first bigger name guest that you have on, you got to leverage it. So you got to put it out on social media and go extract the clips. And then once you have that first bigger name guest, for me, it was Grant. And I've now done I've done 3 podcasts with Grant now. And the first time I had him on, I leveraged that podcast to go get other big name guests. We're like, hey, we just did an episode with Grant. Here's the link. Would love to have you on. And then it's social collateral, and you're leveraging other people. I
love that. That's huge. That helps me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process for prepping big guests?
So first thing you want to do is, you want to look up anything controversial online. You want to go look at their most viral videos on their Instagram that got the most engagement. And then you want to make notes on those videos because the goal of all these podcasts is we want to put out as much value as possible to the audience, but also we want shorts that can perform on social media because that's going to bring more awareness to your podcast. And so you go and take all the most viral clips that they have, maybe their top 10, and then now you have bullet points and talking conversations on 10 topics that you already know are going to be shorts on social media, you already know are going to perform on social media, you already know your guests can spit game on, and you know that people engage with those topics. And then from there, you want to find out anything controversial. So, anything online that's controversial, and then ask the most compelling controversial question first, right out the gate. And that's typically how we prep for the guests. And then before I start any episode, I always ask my guests, hey, this is what I have so far. My goal is to, obviously get as many views as possible, give as much free game as possible. Is there any other topics that we didn't touch on that you feel like your audience will resonate with? And they always say, hey, these 3 or 4 topics, boom, boom, boom. Or I want to talk about this. And you can see their eyes light up. They get excited about talking about it. And so now when I get in, we're talking about shit they want to talk about too. You see what I'm saying? And so it just makes the whole conversation go better. And while I'm in these episodes, I will organically tee up these conversations that I know are going to be short form clips on the back end. And they might be 5 or 6 minute conversations on each topic. But in the long form, the audience, it sounds very organic. But I know in the back of my head, this 5 or 6 minute conversation on whatever topic is going to be a 45-second Instagram reel or TikTok.
And then that's what goes viral and brings the eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap this up, what's the bigger vision for Summers Capital over the next 5 years?
I want to build a $1 billion thing, a $1 billion real estate portfolio in the boutique hotel game with Summers Capital. And so we are sourcing deals here in the California coast. We love the areas that are supply constraint, great locations on the water or just off the water where they have good year-round tourism, but only so many hotels. And, we're individually branding these hotels, so they'll have their own direct booking site. They'll have their own Instagram handles. So as far as exit strategy, and by the way, I believe the way to build true long-term wealth in real estate investing is to buy in great locations and let time do its thing. We always have to buy below market, have a clear path to add value, and we always have to, have a long-term time horizon. I don't want to become a flipper. I don't want to go find these deals which are hard to find, take all the risk of renovating these properties, add all the value, and then become a flipper. I want to let time do its thing. I want to let inflation do its thing. Let's not forget the Federal Reserve has printed 80% of the money supply since 2020. And so I believe there's going to continue to be inflation and appreciation long term. And so instead of becoming a flipper, I want to refi these deals a couple times and hold these things long term. As far as the exit strategy, I'm going to portfolio up these boutique hotels, and I'm going to go to more institutional groups that are more interested in buying a portfolio of 10 boutique hotels, economies of scale, cash flowing assets, and those groups are willing to pay a higher multiple for those assets, but individually they're not interested. Not enough zeros, not enough commas, not enough dollar signs for them to be interested individually. So that's kind of the big picture, but ultimately I want to build $1 billion boutique hotel portfolio with Summers Capital.
That's amazing. Is your plan to eventually sell Summers Capital, or do you want to have this as a lifelong thing for you?
This is a legacy play.
Love it. Last question I always like to ask this is, what's one lesson you'd teach your 18-year-old self?
If I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self one piece of advice.
Yeah.
Don't fear failure, fear regret.
Boom. Just go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Rich, this was a masterclass from cashing out your 401k to building an $80 million portfolio to launching one of the biggest networking events in San Diego. Your story is proof that action beats perfection every single time. For young entrepreneurs listening, you just heard real, actionable blueprint for someone who did it from scratch. If you got value from today's episode, make sure you follow Rich. Where can they find you, Rich?
Everything's at Instagram at Rich_Summers. That's SOMERS.
Perfect. And for everyone listening, if this episode gave you value, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to Built to Scale podcast, and share this podcast and this episode with another entrepreneur building something big. Rich, appreciate you for not gatekeeping the process, the mistakes in the game. You're built to scale, and this story is far from finished.
Let's go, Quinn. Just the beginning, baby.